All right. Yo, we are back. I don't know what was going on, man. Y'all listening, let us know if y'all can hear us. Let us know. Like I said, I think it was just the platform. That's why no disrespect to them. I don't want to hate on them because they be looking, but that's why I go with the other one. You know what I'm saying? But hey, we'll get that fixed. So Rue, so let's go ahead, bro. So what do you think of this Georgia Tech hire?
Man, I like it. I really love it. But before we talk about his hiring, I really think you got to go and see why Josh Pastner was fired. Because I don't think Josh Pastner was fired because he couldn't coach. He took a team that was that was predicted second to last to win the ACC tournament in 2020. He won the whole thing with a team full of guys who aren't. I mean, led by Jose Alvarado. So I don't think it wasn't because he couldn't coach. It was because the game outside the game, recruiting. That's something I think that he couldn't do. He couldn't do well. And a lot of guys under Pastner's tenure at Georgia Tech went by the wayside and fell in the laps of other schools. A lot of guys that you can go down the list. You had Anthony Edwards coming from Thurl High, go to Georgia. Tom Crean, come on, Tom Crean. Then we got Isaac Okoro, Sharif Cooper, and Colin Sexton out of Pebblebrook and Marietta. Go to play with Bruce Pearl and who did Colin Sexton play for Alabama? Can't think of his name. Our guy. Um, and then you had Jabari Smith is another one out of South Fulton, go to Auburn. Just guys that's leaving the city. Jalen Brown's another one. But that's before Pastner. But Georgia Tech, I think this is a Georgia Tech thing. Getting the local guys aren't even looking at us, So it's with Damon Stoudemire, it's a different hire than they've ever had. It's a guy who's proven, it's a guy who's known in the, who's played basketball, who's a point guard who can relate. He's relatable. So I think they're trying to make that splash hire and get.
Yeah, but okay, I'm with you, and I agree with everything you said because that's the biggest thing is recruiting.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing with this hire.
And I think because the difference is, in all the guys you name, look at the last hires that we've had, the last coaches we had. The difference is the fact that Damon played the game.
Yep.
Damon was a good point guard, player, and I think the fact that because Damon came in and he came in the NBA like he was a star instantly. And he kind of went off whatever. But you got somebody like you stated is relatable. Somebody that, as you stated, now is an icon. This guy's done it before. And I think Damon's approach to it is going to be more of, hey, I understand where you are coming from. I know what you've been through. I know what it's like. Let me talk to you. And I got to ask Damon, I asked him this in the presser. I was like, the fact that you just came from a team where y'all had to deal with everything that was going on with Stroke Udoka. I didn't say that though. I didn't say Stroke Udoka, but I said y'all had to deal with that change and the way y'all went about it with the new coach. And look how the players responded. They're playing better than they were last year. So, what will you take from that? And he talked about it. But not just that. One thing about Georgia Tech, that Georgia Tech was that everybody talked about, or you know about Georgia Tech, and I'll name players. We'll go with Mark Price, Stefan, Kenny Anderson, the Barry, I forgot which name, it's like 18 berries, but the Drew Barry.
Yep. Yep. And we can take it an era.
Jed Jack.
Chris Bott.
But no, I'm talking about but I'm talking about point guard. Point guard. The point guards did that. I don't know. It's like it's tripping again, but the point guards or whatever done this, and they done that. So all I'm saying is, you get a point guard. That's what Georgia Tech is built on. You want to get a point guard to bring in point guards. Once you do that, and like he said, you get a guard. That's what you want. You want the guard.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The guard is what's going to help you get to where you need to get to in college. I don't care what you have a big man, but if you ain't got the right point guard, it's not going to work. But you don't think it's going to work?
Oh, it's going to take time. It's going to definitely take time. Guys, and get, and you know that 16% the second to low it's a tough job. You know, handicap when and that's with all sports. So it's kind of crazy that school right in the city, downtown Atlanta, and you expect just bigger and better things from them. You don't expect to see guys, you know, just leap over, just, you know, go, you know, pass up Georgia Tech, not even give it a look. So I think Damon Stoudemire is going to try to change that culture, as far as, you know, the basketball aspect goes. Because all it takes is that one guy to come. I can't even hear you now. Ooh.
Okay, there you go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
About that. Yeah, I had on mute. But no, you're right. Yeah, I had on mute. I think that's the thing. What it's going to take? Can we get that one guy? But he said he got the recruit. He know how to recruit. The biggest thing I noticed too, Rue, Dennis Scott, all the former players were there at the press conference.
Okay.
All of them.
They're getting behind them. All right.
Yeah. So
something we haven't seen, especially me growing up in ATLian.
Right.
You know, I grew up, you know, wanting to root for Georgia Tech, but Georgia was always better, man. I remember they made the Final Four, but haven't gotten back to that prominence since, man.
Right. No, you're right. But let's transition, man, to the NBA. We talking Georgia Tech. Let's talk Atlanta Hawks. What do you think about Trae Young right now? Everybody's getting on that steal that he did. Your thoughts? Do you think? Well, let me tell you. I think that Trae Young is playing better with Snyder. But I want your thoughts, Rue.
Yeah, I think he's playing better too. But the team isn't. That's the thing. The team isn't. I don't think it's playing better under Snyder. I think it's still same old. They're 4 or 5 with Snyder.
But that's gonna take time, though. I think they're better. I don't think they're winning.
Yeah,
they're better. They're scoring more.
I don't know this team ceiling though with Snyder, even this year, because I don't think this year is
it don't count.
It's not a trash season. It's not a trash season at all.
It's not a trash season, but you can't. We can't say, all right, man, it's not working. And this is 9th game. He's in the middle of the season. They didn't have a training camp. So they're all on the fly. We have to expect this.
Certain games, though, man. Timberwolves, come on, man. That's a game that's effort game. You get blown out by the Timberwolves. They have nobody starting. Like, missing 3 starters. Like, you go get smacked up. You're losing by 25 all game long.
But you know what? I think that was more of – it was just flat.
And that's just one game. There's just one game.
You have games like that. DeJounte, he was fumbling the ball.
Worst game of the season.
DeJounte sounded like he got caught up or something with his
girl did.
Yeah, you know how you be discombobulated or whatever, but
Bud was 2 for 18, man.
Fumbling the balls
and that's just one game, but it's I still see the effort thing sometimes. I want to ask you though, were you surprised at the Bogey signing this week? Re-signing him for a year?
I was.
I was too.
I was definitely surprised at that.
Because you think this 10 years for Quinn to find who his guys are while this season, and to offer him that so sudden, I was so surprised.
So this MVP, man, I want to get into this MVP talk.
It's heating up, bro.
It's heating up. You had it was Joker, MVP to 3 with 4. It was Joker, Luka, Tatum, and
Greek.
And Greek. And Embiid. So now I think Luka's kind of taking a back seat because he has Kyrie. I knew Kyrie was going to take some of that shine, which he probably don't mind. You know what I'm saying? Hey, whatever. Now you have Luka's in it. I mean, not Luka, but Tatum's still in it. But do you think Tatum's falling, or do you think he's still? I mean, I think he's still in a race, but is he competing with the other two, with Embiid and with Joker?
It's just and Giannis is slipping out. Even though he's had a dominant week, it's between Joker and Embiid though. It's between these two. And like I said, I think a lot of people, including myself, I said this earlier, got into this whole thing and we thought it was all a foregone conclusion. January, but it was January, but it was February. Not remembering that it's still 20% of the season left. And as people, we forget, it's 82 games, man. We forget the meat of the season. And this is when they really put that work in. We tend to only remember the last 15, the last 20. And right now, the Nuggets look terrible. And we're right in that last 15 bridge right now. And they look terrible. Joker looks bad. His defense looks bad. And I just want to say this to you. I just want to say Embiid is 38-13, 36-18, 34-8, 39-7, 39-7, 42-5, 31-36, 35-8. That's Embiid's last 8 games in March, since March 1st. This dude is on a tear, bro.
Yeah, it's like I don't know, man. He wants this bad. I believe he wants this badly.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's probably gonna come down to they play each other March 27th. I don't say it's gonna come down to, but it could have a huge implications on the MVP March 27th in Denver. Okay. Embiid versus Joker.
So let me go to Joker stats. This is March. So 18, 18, and 10, 17, 13, and 9, 18, 12, and 8, 37, 11, and 11, 35, 20, and 11, 28, 8, and 7, 30, 10, and 9.
But it's a losing effort though. And I don't know. I think Embiid has had a better March though. I do think Embiid has had a better March. The Nuggets have not looked good, man. They're allowing, the Raptors to score 140 points on them. Raptors can't score on anybody. Like, I don't know. This stretch they're on is not good, and they got to pick it up because it's not helping Joker. And I think the MVP race has changed in some people's minds, even last week.
But if you go by record, and I understand because
they're number one.
Because right now, Nuggets, if you look at they 5-5 in their last 10 games, whereas Philly is 8-2. So you're right, because Philly is like, I mean, if you were just trying to compare them to, they're half a game up. So I get it, but I don't know, man. All I gotta say is it's gonna come down to the end. I think if it's close, Embiid has to win it. even though we've seen nothing like this before, as far as Joker averaging a triple double. And see, that was the thing with who maybe MJ, LeBron. You know, I still don't see how Steve Nash won it twice, but even with Steve Nash, when it came down to that opportunity to win it 3 times in a row, the third season they did nothing extraordinary. They might have been great, but they've done nothing extraordinary. And what I mean by that is they didn't. It wasn't nothing that third year. It was like, oh my God, you got to give it to them. Whereas with Joker, he's doing something extraordinary. He's doing something no one has never done. No big man has never done. I think since last, I don't even think has Wilt. I don't know if Wilt averaged a triple double. I don't know.
No.
I don't know, but if he did, I've never seen it.
Yeah, the last person to win 3 was Larry, I believe.
No, yeah, it was Larry. But I'm just saying though, and to me, Larry didn't do nothing spectacular on that third MVP. But what I'm saying though is usually, and that's what Kendrick Perkins was talking about, but we'll get into that another time. But what I'm saying is the fact that you hadn't seen, I mean, with the last few years, last 20 years, 30 years, in order to win that third MVP, like Jordan went 3 in a row, you had to do something crazy. But Joker is doing that.
His stats look identical. They're really better analytic wise. He really dive in. He's having a better year this year than last year.
Double.
Yeah, he's having
done that.
But it's recency bias. That's what I was saying. It's going with the voter, and they don't announce the award till June anyway. And that's the thing.
What I'm saying,
last 15, it to me is going to resonate this year with the voters. And if Embiid is balling out of control like he is, more so than Joker, I keep calling him Joker. I just think they're going to be like, man, this guy has been deserving the last 3 years, so we finally going to do it. Stop. I'm going to give you
one. Right. This is what I'm saying, though. I hear you, and Joker should get it. But again, all I'm saying is, I'm not Joker, but Embiid should get it if it's close. I agree with you. If it's close, I think Embiid should get it.
Yeah, you said it. Yeah,
because Joker is doing something that we've never seen before
from a big, right?
Yeah.
But we've seen it before from him. That's the thing.
We hadn't seen him average triple double throughout the season. This is the first time that ever happened.
Oh yeah, he had 9 assists before. He was close.
8. He's averaging a triple double.
Yeah. He's having a better year.
How many people's done it in the career? What?
Only 4, I believe, or 3. Russell, Oscar.
That's it. Them only 2. So a big man to get a triple double and still average over 20-something points. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So, bro,
it's heating up, bro. It's coming down to the last month.
I think it's just them 2 right now.
Yeah, I just think it's them 2. And another thing, they've been healthy, man. I think Joker's played in every single game. Embiid has been healthy more, this year. Greek slid out. Greek's missed like 15, 16 games, so he's balling right now, though. But yeah, it's just, to me, it's just those 2 right now.
All right, bro. We'll see. So you got Embiid winning.
Yeah.
Okay.
If he wins it this year,
I'll say this: if he keeps it up, which it looks like he is, then I got you. But if I just think if he doesn't come out and he slips up for a week or 3 games, and Joker maintains his level of what he's doing, I think they're gonna give it to Joker, man. They love Joker. They love Joker, and because they love him. Look. The first year Embiid should have won it. Who they give it to? You know what I'm saying? So that's why I think
Guilt's gonna come into play. And MD's gonna be putting up them 40s and 18s, and they're gonna be number one too. They could be.
it didn't come into play with Larry Bird. Right. You know. But all right, man. So look, I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, you know it, man.
And we're gonna take a quick break, and we will be right back. Hey, Rue.
Man, this guy here.
Make sure you keep up. Rue got me with the bracket right now. So
oh yeah, man. You know I'm gonna win that thing. Easy. Arkansas, Pig Suey. I like Arkansas going all the way, man.
All right, y'all. We're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Peace.
What's going on? Pastor Tan here, and you're listening to the 3-Point Conversion.
All right, we are back inside the 3-Point Conversion Sports Lounge. And hey, man, second hour, we about to get to it. Once again, it is the show is dedicated to my brother, mentor, my guy, Wayne. And shout out to Wayne. Again, Wayne passed away last week, so shout out to him, man. And there go the picture of my brother. Like I said, he's reason why I'm in this place, in this position right now, man. Just the kind words, whatever. So we appreciate it. So but real quick, I want to shout out everybody who's listening. I want to shout out to everybody who's watching on whether it's Facebook, YouTube. I appreciate it. And I want to give a special shout out to people who couldn't even make it, couldn't watch it, maybe because they got something to do, especially these particular people. Moore, Jalen, Cliff. Hey, man, y'all have a safe trip to Selma. I know y'all going to the funeral. Hey, appreciate y'all. Y'all represent me as well, all right? And be safe, and thank you again. All right. So March Madness time, and we got to bring in a special guest, man. Well, he's no special guest. He don't need no introduction, but I'm going to give it to him. Guy knows his college basketball. Right now, he's in Columbus covering college basketball as well. And got to bring him in, my guy, Deshaun Tate. What up, bro?
What up, dog? What's happening, man? I appreciate you for having me. It's bright and early. It's been a long night, as you can probably imagine, but it's all for a good reason. So I appreciate you for having me.
No, I appreciate you for taking your time to do this, man, because I know you're tired and everything, man, and you're probably got other interviews to do. But let's get to it, man. March Madness. What game to you was the biggest upset? I mean, I probably know, but if you talk about it, you explain why.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, with last night's game, the 16 seed over a 1 seed, only the second time we've ever seen that happen. I know Thursday's games was pretty big, where you had Furman over Virginia, which was a 13 over a 4. And then of course, you had Princeton over Arizona. Probably nobody happier than Virginia I guess technically Arizona. You know what I mean? To see a number 1 seed go down because nobody's talking about them no more.
Right.
But it's just kind of a reminder for Virginia, though, right? Because they were the first ones that this happened to. So it's like, are we happier as Virginia fans, that nobody's talking about our big loss on Thursday anymore? Or is the number 1 going down just a reminder of what things was like for us when we was the first one to win down? I don't know. But they won a national championship, the year after. So, of course, that kind of helped things a little bit, but without question, a 16 seed over a 1 again. And the crazy part about it is that you have this instance where Fairleigh Dickinson won the game on last night, but they technically wouldn't have been in the tournament because they play in a conference of which, you only get 1 bid, and they didn't win their conference tournament. They lost their conference tournament for an automatic qualifying bid to a Merrimack team that you have to be within the NCAA Division I for so long before you can actually, no matter what you do, you can win the conference tournament as they did, but you have to be, a D1 school for a certain amount of years before you can make the tournament as an automatic qualifying bid. If not, the runner-up goes. So the runner-up being Fairleigh Dickinson, they go. And not only that, but they have to, now they're the first 16 seed to win 2 NCAA tournament games because they had to play, I think Tuesday night. On Tuesday night, just to get in to the NCAA tournament in the first 4. So it's a lot, man. It's wild. I tell y'all all the time, y'all, people talk about, MLB in October and, Super Bowl is obviously a big deal, NBA finals and all that, but just the unpredictability, the build up, the lead up to everything. For March Madness, it's just nothing like it.
No, man, you're right. And again, that's the beauty of it. That's what we like. This is the time of rooting for the underdog, unless that's your team. So I get it. But let's talk about the teams other than the underdogs. And it could be an underdog. What teams have impressed you the most so far in this tournament?
Yeah, I mean, Duke's big win. Everybody looks at the 5 versus 12 matchups every single year. Those are typically the upsets that you find. I thought that this was not a good draw for Oral Roberts, who has some previous NCAA tournament experience going to the Sweet 16 a couple years ago, against a very hot Duke team right now. I think they've won at least close to somewhere around 10 in a row now at this point. But I don't think it was a great draw for Duke either. But that proved me wrong, So Duke definitely looks like one of the strongest. Obviously, UCLA and some of the others look pretty strong too, but some of those are games that are expected to have won so far over, the respective programs. So, there's definitely some others, but it's just one round out. I think you give it one more round and you start asking those questions. And then we have a little bit better idea as to, who looks the most impressive because, as you know, each round, each game, the competition gets tougher and tougher. So give it another 24 to 48 hours and we have a more concrete answer.
And I want to go back to the basically the bracket busters. And I want to ask you, out of the underdogs, the bracket busters, what team or which team do you see going the farthest?
Right now, specifically out of the 3 that have the biggest upset so far being, Fairleigh Dickinson and Princeton and Furman, I've got to go with Fairleigh Dickinson. They got a maybe not favorable matchup, but when you play, expecting that you would have to play Purdue, win the game like you did last night, and then expecting that you're probably going to have Memphis up next, who's crazy athletic up and down the floor and everything else. They lose last night after the 16 beats the 1. So now whoever would have thought that in the second round, instead of having Purdue versus Memphis, you actually have, FDU and FAU, which is crazy to think. Nobody ever would have predicted or guessed that, but that's the nature of March Madness. I've got Fairleigh Dickinson. They rolling. They win their first 4 game. They get into the tournament. You play Purdue. You got less than 48 hours to be able to prepare, plus the plane ride from Dayton to Columbus, which I get it, it's maybe not a ton of time, but yet still 48 hours is 48 hours. And I think you got a pretty favorable matchup against Florida Atlantic on tomorrow too. So that should be pretty good. And then, you win that game, it's likely you're going to be playing, from right now, the way it looks, is like you're probably going to be playing Duke or Tennessee, I guess, for that case, for a shot to see who's going to go to the Elite Eight. And right now, when you're playing with house money and you ain't really supposed to be here for real, confidence is riding high. You got, everything to gain and nothing to lose. That's a dangerous man the last time I checked. So I'm going to go with Fairleigh Dickinson.
And I'm going to switch it up, Deshaun, real quick, because we got to let you go. But
go ahead. Take your time. We good for right now.
With Kennesaw State, what they did, that's hometown here is where we are in Georgia.
Yeah.
Kennesaw State, what they did. Do you see that team? Because 2024, not next year, the year after that, they're transitioning to the Conference USA, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you see that team picking up on scholarships and seeing more people, more recruits go there, or more, your players go there, prospects? And can you see this team do what Georgia State never did or never able to do?
I mean, I know Georgia State, one thing Georgia State did was Georgia State did, inherit some transfers and stuff like that, obviously with the transfer portal. So if Georgia State can at least do that, then I would imagine that Kennesaw State can do that too. But the difference is Ron Hunter returned back to Georgia State after some of their success and making it to the NCAA tournament and so forth. Excuse me. That's something that, obviously we don't have that answer to for Kennesaw State just yet. But I think a big determining factor behind that answer will be whether Amir Abdur-Rahim, which whether he returns or not. I think he won, of the 4 years he's been there, the first year he won like 1 game, that year. And then his second year he won like 5 games. And then his third year he won like, 8 games. And then this past year he won like 20 something games.
Wow.
His name is going to be amongst those conversations into a big name job in a Power 5 conference, I would imagine, if you think about it. Cal Golden Bears, they just, Mark Fox, the former head coach of Georgia, ended up taking the job over at Cal, and he was just released earlier this year. Sharif Abdur-Rahim, the older brother of Amir Abdur-Rahim, the head coach of Kennesaw State, went to Cal. Now with that job opening up, I can only imagine that it is, certainly got some of that pipeline in there to be able to land him as a head coach.
And you think he goes? It's a possibility that he goes this year, because the job, like you said, is vacant right now, right?
How much better can it get realistically if you are Kennesaw State? I mean, yeah, it sounds great. Come back, return back to Kennesaw State and try and make it a powerhouse amongst, mid-major programs or whatnot. But that money talks, bigger stage, bigger conference, California, all these different things. I think those, and then of course the pipeline that you have to your brother, all that stuff makes a huge difference too. So I would imagine that this would be the year that he ends up going.
Well, before we let you go, man, I got to ask you, I'll be remiss if I didn't ask you this. Your Michigan State Spartans came up with a nice win. Struggled at first, or it played slow at first, but they took control of the game. Where do you see them going? Because in my bracket, I have them going far. I have them going.
Yeah.
I think maybe.
Yeah, I had them losing after winning on tomorrow against Marquette. Had them losing to Kansas State. in the Sweet 16. Certainly a game that they can win. I mean, I don't think that there's very many. I think that it's a winnable game for Michigan State, but it's also a losable game. But it's March, and you know that what that means. It's time for Tom Izzo to flex his March Madness muscles. People know the motto: January, February, Izzo, April, May. That's just typically the way that it goes. But you know they've got business to take care of first against Marquette, and for whatever it means, it could be Kansas State in the very next round. You know, Sweet 16. Then it could be on to Duke in the Elite Eight, but you know, to see who goes to the Final Four. But you never know how this stuff going to shake out. You know, they could beat Marquette and not end up playing Kansas State, play somebody else, and next thing you know, they might be meeting up with, you know, maybe Michigan State and you know, Fairleigh Dickinson to decide who goes to the Final Four. For all we know, like that's just what March is. You know, it's just about who gets hot at the right time, and I don't think it's going to surprise or shock anybody by any stretch of the imagination to see Michigan State go on to the Final Four. At least I hope that's not crazy to people to think that.
Well, all right, man. Well, definitely, bro. We appreciate you, man. Hopefully we have you on next week. We got the next.
For sure. Yeah, no doubt. Count me in.
We know we're probably gonna do something special for Final Four. Deshaun Tate will be covering the Final Four, like always, and yours truly will be there as well. So representing the 3-point conversion. So yeah, man, we got to link up, but definitely next week, man. Let's do it. Appreciate you, man. And hey, next year, don't be surprised, man. Might have a headset, and he probably say, "I can't do it. I'm working for whoever," you know. So we'll see. But, all right, Deshaun, we appreciate you, bro. Thanks, man. All right, y'all. So we're gonna be right back. I don't know if y'all ready for this because I gotta go on my. It's not even a rant, but I got to talk about these Memphis Grizzlies. What's going on? Yes, they came back from 29 last night to win the biggest turnaround this year from, you know, that big of a deficit. But I got to talk about the Memphis Grizzlies. Y'all don't want to miss this. I want to know what y'all think as well. All right. We'll be right back after this. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, yo, check 1, 2. Flavor in the building, and you know who you listening to? The 3-point conversion. Flavor in the building.
All right. We are back inside the 3-point conversion sports lounge. I'm going to actually share this with the Grizzlies, man. They probably going to be mad at me when I talk about this, but it's the truth. It's, you know, we tell the truth and shame the devil here, man. We shame the devil and tell the truth. So, all right, y'all. So I had to talk about the Memphis Grizzlies, and we know a lot going on with Ja, that situation. But then, as of late, we remember what happened with the situation with Dillon Brooks and Shannon Sharpe, which you kind of blame that on Shannon Sharpe, right? But Dillon Brooks, Shannon Sharpe, that situation. But then Dillon Brooks shoving the cameraman. Bane punching Kevin Love in the nuts. Of course, Ja. Are we seeing a reincarnation of the Detroit Bad Boys? Like, at this point, really, is this what they're trying to do? Is this the whole point? What up, Mike Patton? What up, Vince? Vince is back. Mike says he don't think that was on purpose with Bane. You know, I don't know, man. I watched it a few times. Mike, it kind of, at first I was like, yeah. Then I'm on the fence. At first I'm like, no, it doesn't look like it. But then I saw it again. I'm like, I don't know, man. Maybe it's hard to say, you know. And I respect that, respect you for saying that. But at this point, I don't know. I just feel like at this point, they want to be the bad boys. Look at everything they're doing. Look at like Dylan Brooks he's owning it. He's owning it. I mean, that was intentional what he did last night. And for him to go ahead and not last night, but the other night when he shoved that camera, I'm surprised he didn't get suspended. But to shove that cameraman, like it was no point in him shoving the camera guy. And they were on the road and he did it. So then with Josh's situation, what's going on, like the only thing was we didn't see the bad boys outside of the basketball court acting up. And I think that's where you can put Ja in. But we've seen Ja get in people's face during the game. We've seen what Brooks is doing. Steven Adams is a tough man. He ain't gonna let no, which he's supposed to do, but still, it's like they're all about starting trouble. And I'm wondering if that's their motive. But you know what? Do I buy it? I do buy it. I buy it with Brooks, of course. But I mean, maybe this is what they need is that edge. Because I think last year we saw it. We saw it a little bit when Bane, not Bane, but Brooks. And I don't even think Brooks did it intentionally when he who was that he knocked down? Was it it was Gary Payton Jr. or the second. I don't know if he did it intentionally to hurt him, but it was a message. We saw it in the playoffs. And even in the game, they were battling, but they didn't have that edge against the Warriors. If they had that edge this year, or if they had the edge they have now against the Warriors last year, could they have beaten the Warriors? Because remember, and then of course Ja was out too. But you got to remember, every game was close. But they didn't have that edge like they have now. Is this what they're trying to do? Because it looks like that's the point. But I buy it. I buy it. When you act like this, believe it or not, and what Detroit used to do, I don't think Detroit was necessarily trying to hurt you, but what Detroit was trying to do is get in your head. Dennis Rodman, Bill Laimbeer, Rick Mahorn, all of them, that's what the whole point was, to get in your head, to mess with you, mess with your mind, to make you stop playing and react. And it seems like they're going towards this way. And honestly, believe it or not, I think it's good for basketball. I think Rick says the Pistons, if y'all listening, the Pistons played great D and won behind the things they did. What have the Grizzlies won? No, you're right, but they didn't start winning until they became the bad boys. That's my point. You're right, Rick, but they didn't start winning until they became the bad boys. And because they weren't necessarily the bad boys when they got beat by Boston, when they were close, when they got beat by the Lakers, they were close. But that next year that's when it's okay. Let's turn into the bad boy. Let's make these Jordan rules. Let's do this, do that. All I'm saying is they playing better defense. You got, and I know he's hurt, but you got Steven Adams who mans the middle. You got Jaren Jackson who's blocking every shot. Brooks plays good defense. He's in your face. He irritates you. And believe it or not, I think it's good for the NBA. I think we need that team to have that edge and play like that. Not only is it entertainment, but there's so many people always talk about how the NBA is soft and the NBA. I don't even think it's about being soft, but still they talk about it's soft and hey, we need to toughen it up. Now here you go. Now my only thing is, how would the refs respond to this? Because you know how the refs are. The refs, they don't like nobody ruffling up anyone's feathers. I mean, you can't even get in an argument without getting a tech. You know, I'm talking about getting each other's face. No pushing, just talking mess. You get in a tech. So with this approach that the Grizzlies supposedly trying to have or use, how are the refs going to be able to take this? Or are they going to do the Draymond where it's like, all right, we're getting accustomed to you always arguing and yelling at us. We don't call the tech. We let you get away with things. Are they going to do that with Memphis? I don't know, especially because they got the Golden Boy. And I don't mean that in no disrespect, but I think the league wanted Ja to be the Golden Boy. I mean, because everybody was following Ja. Everybody liked Ja. The kids love Ja. You know, he stands out. He got the locks. He got the tattoos. He, you know, showing that he gangster or whatever. And, you know, so I wonder if that's why the league wants him to be the Golden Boy. But still, with the Golden Boy, how does the NBA view this? Are they going to let him get away with certain things? Is this going to cause for more entertainment? The good thing is, what I did like about it, which I noticed, was when Dylan Brooks and Draymond got into it that day, and Draymond was all in this, put the ball in his face, and they got into it. They didn't call a tech on that. So maybe we might see something here. Maybe we win a rivalry, I should say, because we don't have any rivalries right now. Mike says, I like the physical play and the intensity. I think the Grizzlies like people mentioning them as who they are, and Jenkins probably be one person in public and another in front of them in the locker room. Yeah, with a name like Taylor Jenkins. Yeah. But anyway, I digress. But like I said, I like it. I like the fact that they're doing that, and we'll see what happens. Another team I want to talk about are the Sacramento Kings. Do we believe the Kings are for real? And not just this year, because we've seen teams play well and then the next year become a fluke, or they weren't that team. I'm not going to lie. I see it. I like it. I didn't think they were going to be this good. I said they would win maybe 40 games. And I said that the Kings might, they win like 42, even 43 games. But because of the division they're in, they're not going to be able to get in the playoffs, because you got the Lakers, you got the Clippers, you got Golden State Warriors. So that's what I thought. That's what I felt. And the next thing you know, look at them. They top at the division. They're number 2 in the West. And to me, I really believe that the Kings right now, I think they got everything you need right now, because let's look at their roster, and I'm gonna just name certain parts of their roster. You got your vet, and I believe Barnes and Harrison Barnes. Still got your vet. I believe he's still there. I believe. You have your rookies. We all like the rook. The rook can shoot the ball. Keegan Murray he's not gonna give you 20 every night. He's a rook. You don't expect that, but he can shoot the ball. He's starting. So you got somebody who's been productive. You have your seasoned vet and De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox is in his prime right now, scoring the basketball, playing as best as he's ever played. You team him up with Sabonis, and Sabonis is a jack of all trades. This is the guy that it goes, that's where the offense goes through him. Pass, do it a score if you need him to score, do whatever. But the chemistry between him and De'Aaron Fox, I think, is key. It's key. But you also add a Kevin Herter who can shoot the ball. So you got your 3-point shooter. But then you got that 6-man. And that 6-man, who you have? You got Malik Monk. Malik Monk come off the bench and score 20 like that. I mean, let's be real. You think about championship teams, they always had the 6-man, not necessarily the 6-man of the year, but a 6-man. Of course, Manu. Of course, Tony Kukoc, Lamar Odom. At one point, Mike Miller. You always have that guy to come off the bench that can keep them scoring, keep going, keep it rolling, keep them going. Then you got a good coach. And I think right now, if I was a betting man, I'm not saying they're going to get to the conference finals. I'm not saying that because they're taking steps, but I think they get past the first round. I think they get past the first round. Yeah, Red Velvet, you're right. Yep. So I really believe that with the way they're being coached, the way the team is mixed with veterans, you got your veterans, you got your rookies, you got your seasonal vets, you got the bench coming up, you got specialists. And right now, you don't have a lot of teams that have that. You got teams that are good, like you got teams that got good players, but you don't have a specialist. Herter, 3-point shooter. Malik Monk, score. Just come and score. That's all we need. Keegan, score. Dante is the jack of all trades, and you got your closer in De'Aaron Fox. You got the vet in Barnes. You got a team, man. And I think, like I said, this year, I don't know if they make noise like that, but I think as you go on next year, we're going to see. I think this year they get to the second round, but I think next year, that's when they say, okay, let's watch out. Let's watch out. Because now everything they're doing is going to make sense and they understand what they're doing. And they're getting acclimated to the offense, but not just the offense, but with each other. They'll have the year under their belt. So, hey, y'all, that's my team. That's my team that was my team to make that surprise. I know Rue said they were going to make a big jump, but I also said that I think that was going to be the team that step up. I didn't think they would step up like this. I'm not going to lie. But I think they're going to step up. And like I said, watch out for the Sacramento Kings. All right, y'all, that was my little rant. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be back with Ask a Doc. Keep it locked.
What's up, family? I'm Real Mike Rob. Make sure you tuning in to the 3-Point Conversion Radio. They got all of it, and they keep it funky. Let's get it.
All right. We are back inside the 3-Point Conversion Sports Lounge, and we got family in the building. We got to bring in no other than one and only orthopedic for Ortho Atlanta, Dr. Fowler, or Dr. Donnie Fowler III. You know I got to say that. My guy. What up, Doc?
What's up, fellas? Good to see ya.
Got the Duke representing, I see.
Yeah, a little basketball game later today, so we'll see what happens. But
So, Doc, we're going to get right to it. So, first off, LeBron James, he's been out for, what is it? Has it been 3 weeks already? 2 weeks?
a little over 2 so far, yeah.
It was rumors saying that he would come back. He was expected to come back soon. He hadn't came back yet. How much longer do you think it would take for him to get back right? Especially, and he has to be hurt, especially they're trying to get this playing spot, or even try to get this the bill for the play-in.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're still talking about, he needed a month, so they're going to reevaluate in another 2 weeks or so. but that doesn't mean he's, again, going to be ready at 2 weeks. I think we got a little less than 4 weeks left of the regular season NBA. So, I mean, I think in a perfect world, the Lakers can hold on around that 10 spot. Maybe he's back the very last week of the regular season to just get a little bit of run and just kind of feel and conditioning, plays a few games at the end, and then is kind of ready to go come playoffs, again, assuming they're top 10.
Yeah. Do you think, is it more just let him get 100%, or is it just as soon as he can get back on the court?
I mean, I think they want him, if not 100%, he at least has to be like 95%, or, basically where they're not expecting to see a setback. Because obviously, if something happens again, he's done for the rest of the year. So,
and speaking of rest of the year, is it possible that Kevin Durant can miss the rest of the season and sometime in the playoff with his injury?
Yeah, obviously unfortunate circumstances anytime you get injured, and like just pregame kind of stuff like that. They announced 3 weeks and reevaluate ankle sprain. And again, that doesn't mean he's back in 3 weeks. That means they're saying he's at least out that long. I think it's very similar to LeBron, where you're kind of up against a timetable, and they'd probably like to get him a few games at the end of the regular season, try to obviously make sure the team is gelling somewhat, obviously, with the, bringing in somebody new and trying to kind of have everyone learn their new roles so they don't just head right into the playoffs and are kind of trying to figure it out. So I think he's going to be out most of the regular season, but maybe look to see him back that last week, trying to acclimate.
So when you see an injury like that, we saw him slip and then his ankle turned. Is that more of just like that was a freak accident, or was his ankle already weak? I mean, for him to slip and then it go like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd chalk that up more just to a freak thing. It just looked like I don't know if the court was wet or if they said anything, or is it slippery, but it just looked like his foot caught the wrong way, and that can happen to anybody, unfortunately. So,
yeah, that was sad, man. Just I think that was about to be his first home game as well.
Mm-hmm.
Phoenix. All right, moving to the bad boys of today, Memphis Grizzlies. Steven Adams is out with a PCL injury, and I think he's in danger of missing the regular season. I don't know if they said he's going to be out. They said, 3 to 4 weeks? But my question is, what about the playoffs? Is it possible he can miss the playoff as well?
Yeah, no, I after you said that comment, I'm thinking, let's see can we get the 80s Pistons, 80s and early 90s Pistons up against those Grizzlies now and see what happens. But I think he's been out almost 2 months with a PCL injury, and that's the ligament more in the back of your knee that kind of crisscrosses with the ACL. Not as serious, but still takes a couple months. So I think they're looking at him returning soon, and they even mentioned possibly on their next road trip. So I see him getting back here again, probably in this next week or two, and obviously being ready for sure for the playoffs, unless something new happens. I would expect to see Steven Adams back before you see LeBron or KD. Let's put it that way.
So can you explain what a PCL injury is?
Yeah. So again, PCL stands for posterior cruciate ligament. I'm going to put my fingers up, but ACL, PCL, they literally cross in the middle of your knee and make an X. The ACL is still the main stabilizer of your knee. The PCL is not as important, and usually it does not need surgery if it's just an isolated PCL injury. But again, it still takes a couple months for that ligament to kind of scar in and heal.
Okay. Because, I know a lot of people was worried about that. And then last but not least, I'm not going to lie. I won't give him that because it's a serious injury. And I get it because this is the World Classic Baseball. I mean, the World Baseball Classic. So I get it if you're excited that you won. And Mr. Diaz, Edwin Diaz, he plays for Mexico.
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico is one of DR, right?
That was the game they beat Dominican Republic
Yeah,
to
right. So, and what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
I get that. Because first he's gonna get my stop it, but no, I get it because that's a big win. Because DR they were ranked to, or they were projected to win it all. But of course, in the celebration after he wins, he tore his patellar tendon, celebrated the win in the WBC. How long is he out for? I know he should miss the rest of the season, right? But is it going to be longer?
Yeah, and everything you said, it's obviously an unfortunate situation. I think people in the U.S. don't take the World Baseball Classic or make it as big of a deal just because, you know, we're so entwined with the MLB. But outside of us, like in Latin America, Puerto Rico, DR, and then Far East, like Japan, this is like huge, like big deal. So all those guys take it seriously, and wasn't like he was doing something stupid. They just had a huge win, eliminated Dominican Republic, like you said, and we're just it didn't look like crazy, just gently jumping around. He must have just probably landed on someone's foot, knee flexed the wrong way, popped his patellar tendon, and yeah, it's a serious injury. They're saying 7 or 8 months. I'd say most people would say about a full year to truly be ready to go. So he's definitely out this season. And again, most people would say he was the best closer in baseball last year. Pretty unstoppable. So that's a huge hit for the New York Mets. And again, I would hope that he would be then back and ready to go for 2024. But yeah, you're not going to see him out there with the Mets other than maybe hanging out in the dugout this season, which is sad.
Yeah, that's horrible. How long does he get back to being able to start throwing? Like, when does that take place?
Yeah, I could see him throwing probably within 4 or 5 months. Obviously, he'll need 6 to 8 weeks to heal, and then probably at least another month just to get back to like walking normal. So it's probably gonna be about 3 months until he's like actually just walking normal. Then probably another month to kind of start doing some jogging and conditioning. So I'd say somewhere around 4 or 5 months, he's actually starting to kind of maybe do some throwing.
Last question before we let you go. So I know you've been watching tournament. Tournament's been great so far. FDR, big upset. Chance they can play Duke in the 316. Are you nervous?
I mean, I'm always nervous. I went in thinking we'd lose to Oral Roberts and Max Asmus because they went to the Sweet 16 2 years ago. I was like, how are you going to do us like that and put us up against a giant killer in the first round? So I don't take any matchup lightly. I think Tennessee, even though they're down their point guard with an ACL tear, is still an athletic team. So I'm not looking ahead at FDU or anybody else. I just want to see us hopefully win that Tennessee game today, and then we'll see who's next.
All right, Doc, we definitely appreciate you coming on, man. And hey, you know what? I used to hate Duke. That went away maybe a couple years back, especially last year, being there, being able to cover them play, cover that game, the Final Four, and talk to Coach K. So I don't have that hate for them anymore. Like it's not even there. Like the sting is away, you know. So hey man, hopefully they make it. I think it'll be a big story for them making it this year. You know, instead of since North Carolina's not there, we need somebody there, a good team there. You know, not saying all the other teams good, but we need history. You know what I'm saying? And Duke has that history, so it would be dope to see Duke go there the year after Coach K retired, and North Carolina's not there. Oh, that'd be payback. So, go ahead.
No, we'll see. Yeah, North Carolina, obviously, they still can claim they knocked Coach K out in his final game in the Final Four, but obviously at the same time, pretty hard fall from grace from blowing the national championship. Then the game after that to then not even making the tournament the following season is a preseason number one. So I'm okay with that.
All right. We're going to take a quick break and appreciate it, Doc. We'll be
All right, guys.
back.
What up, y'all? You know who it is, your boy Kiss. Right now, you checking out the 3-point conversion.
All right. We are back inside the 3-point conversion sports lounge. And I want to say, Mike, you said something interesting. You were talking about Tennessee, and I'm going to the chat room, you all. Tennessee can be stagnant offensively and missing their general is going to hurt. You're talking about the basketball, right? Volunteers, correct? I believe that's what you're talking about. Yeah, I think this year it's a lot of teams that are kind of nervous about facing these giant killers right now, the way it's going. And it's a nerve-wracking moment because now you see a lot of teams gaining confidence. When they see one upset, oh, we can do this too. And when like the coach said for FDR, hey, when we watched Purdue on tape, we knew we could beat them. So when you see a 15 beat a 3 seed, you're the 16, or 15 beat a 2 seed, and then the 16 come in and you beat the number 1 seed, which only been done once before, you can't tell me every other team felt like, oh yeah, we could do this now. So it's going to be interesting. It's very going to be interesting. But I'm going to tell you what else is interesting this year. And I don't think it's getting enough pub right now. And that's why we're talking about it on our show. We got to talk about the XFL. And I had to bring in a special guest. He's really no guest. He's family. And actually, he covers the Orlando Guardians for the 3-point conversion. My guy, student of the game, Mr. Kyle Nash. What's going on, Kyle?
Hey, it's great to be in the building. I've been stoked about you doing the podcast, and the backdrop's wonderful there, by the way. I like how you got the 3-point conversion, the dark background working there. It's all of it fantastic. And listen, at some point, I expect a myriad of colors for your backdrop, just like you do the t-shirts, bro.
Oh, yeah, of course. You know, I got to do that, man. You know, I'm getting back to this streamer, even though it kind of failed me today, but it's all right. It came back. Sometimes you struggle and you come back. You know what I'm saying? So we good.
Yeah,
but anyway, so this XFL, man. Of course, my co-host Rue, a couple of weeks ago, I don't know if you heard, but Rue went on a tangent and about it's rigged, it's set up, whatever. Because look who's over it and all that good stuff, right? So, but honestly, the XFL, I thought, especially the first few weeks, were good.
Oh yeah.
When you look at it overall, because you've covered it closely, you've been right there, just as a whole, as the the XFL. What is your take of it right now?
I mean, listen, for something that's just spring football, they already have a number of cutting edge things, and we're not even talking about all of them. Like, over and all, your boy, the young Rue there trying to do his thing. Miles, you got to understand, now I can see Dean Blandino talking to the officials on the field while they're doing the review. So at least there's that transparency for you conspiracy out there, is that when they drop the "it's rigged," as if it's something that you can't claim that somebody's incompetent and then claim that they're playing 4D just rigging an entire sport. But I won't even get into that. Dean Blandino and what he's doing with the reviews and what's going on with the enforcement of rules with the officials isn't something that's just a great thing to watch in the XFL, but this is something that I feel like everybody at any major level that can, has the tech to do it should adopt. College, NFL, even the USFL, if they aren't doing an element of this already. Because I'll tell you this, here's the proof, right? Because we've seen Dean Blandino do his thing on CBS with Jim Nantz and Tony Romo, and I never really liked him. Same dude's doing the stuff, but now I'm riveted in a way that I haven't been before. Right? That should tell you everything. And just the way that you could see what's going on. But Kyle, won't that make the game longer? Hey, listen, if you're watching the game and you're engaged, it won't seem like it's taking long. You'd be surprised about how these dudes talking and about this, officiating mumbo jumbo and rules and getting angles and all that is actually interesting to watch. That is one innovation that jumps off the page. And another really quick ref that I'll get into, the way they handle kickoffs, right? Basically, the way it's set up, you got the runner sitting back. I think it's on his 20. 10 yards across from him is the defense. It's not anybody running the entire length of the field to collide, right? First of all, player safety off the bat, taken care of right there with the kickoff, a thing that we've been talking about. We need to fix that. Well, someone finally got around to doing that and keeping the return game more relevant because you get more returns. The rules force you to return the ball, right? If you get a touchback, the team receiving it gets out to, I believe, the 35-yard line. So it's almost as if you kick the ball out of bounds in the NFL, right? And in that instance, it's forcing more returns and you got better player safety. It's a more fun spectacle to watch. Something else I think that could be adopted once fans see that it's more fun to watch and player safety actually looks like it matters here in the XFL. And I've had Orlando Guardian head coach Terrell Buckley tell me that himself, a 14-year NFL vet, by the way.
So let me ask you, when they're kicking it off, where are they kicking it off from?
It's from the other 20, right? So the kicker's gonna boot it, and he's supposed to get it to the other side of the field, right? If that doesn't happen, there's a penalty in there. If you kick it out of bounds, obviously still a penalty. But another thing too, the kicking team can't come after the receiver of the ball until it hits the ground or until the ball is touched.
Okay, got you. So what is it that you think they can eliminate from the XFL? Or let's take away.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, I'm giving you the high-level stuff. That's the innovation. I haven't even gotten into the way they handle camp and training and going into the league. But some stuff that they're struggling with, I think, is because they're cutting costs right now and starting. But two things personally that I'm not on board with. For one, this week, for example, is going to feature 2 games starting at 10 o'clock or later. Now, I get it, West Coast games and all that. But at the end of the day, they're not going to really capture the East Coast audience. And hey, listen, I'll be blunt, man. I got 2 little kids. I'm already tired from the day. And you want me to cover a game till 1:30 a.m.? I don't think so. But that all being said, they're also, with this part of your, heck, you're just talking about upset season here for March Madness. I get that they're competing with all that. I get they're trying to find their sweet spot here in this part of the year. Something that, leagues playing at this part of the year, something that hasn't happened in the while. But that's something I need to see. And I'd like to see at least what I've seen from the Orlando market. And I hear it's kind of like this in other places more than others, something more for a little bit more local outreach. What the XFL has done is rely on social media and the digital marketing aspect. And I talked to one of the heads of the league, Danny Garcia, who said that the social and media and digital outreach has been fantastic. And you could tell it's kind of how they're getting around not getting that community outreach. Now, the reason that's happening is because the teams are all centralized in Arlington, Texas, right? So not just for camp, but each week when they finish a game, they'll fly back, both teams on the same plane. In other words, you're flying back with a dude that just beat you potentially and take you back to Arlington to go ahead and, continue to train, get treatment, do all that stuff, which I've heard nothing but praises and joy from the facilities there where they're at in Arlington. But that also creates a situation where you're kind of stuck trying to bond with your local group, right? That being said, the St. Louis Battlehawks came out for their first home game last week and got 38,000. So, that's that they're overcoming,
Wow. So before we let you go, you cover the Guardians.
Mm-hmm.
What is your assessment so far of Terrell Buckley and his team?
There's elements of Terrell Buckley that's obvious. He's a young head coach. Now, to his credit, I think there was a particular plan to come in similar like the DC Defenders and run kind of a dual quarterback set where you got one quarterback that does one thing and one quarterback that does another. The Defenders use Tiamu and De'Aaron King to both kind of, run the ball, but they throw the occasional pass. They're definitely a run first team. whereas the Guardians have Paxton Lynch. You may know him from Denver Broncos fame. And also DeAndre Francois, former FSU quarterback. Francois has been hurt 2 of the 4 weeks. And then lately, the league just ruled in a kind of a interesting situation with Quentin Dormady, their other quarterback, who was wrapped up in some sort of a confusion or scandal, if you will, about whether or not he had given information to the San Antonio Brahmas before that game, leading them to help win that game, allegedly. Now, the league rendered all that, all those charges or whatever, unfounded. This is the disadvantage by way to traveling with another team. Apparently, you talk shop with another guy, someone overhears it, and they think the wrong thing, or maybe they get some information. I don't know. But in his case, that's been his quarterback situation. Then I've also been talking around with people in the Guardians locker room after the 2 games they've had here in Orlando, and there's a lot of elements of guys still trying to get acclimated to life in professional football, right? There's a lot of players. This is one of the younger teams in the league. So he's struggling with getting buy-in and getting them locked in. Between what's going on there, that a number of those, actually, I'll get to that in a minute, Vince. But with that all said, with that going on, there's been a lot of confusion. Terrell Buckley's been thrown into a bit more of a difficult situation. And oh, by the way, controversy, Raphael, let me tell you this. They've had to play the Houston Roughnecks twice, the top defense in the league, who only lost just this past Thursday. So there have been a lot of challenges that Terrell Buckley's had to deal with. And depending, I'll put it this way, he better get a win this week against the Vipers, who are also completely defeated, no win so far this season, or this may be a first-year head coach who's on the hot seat by the end of the season.
Wow. So, yeah, it's kind of sucks being the first year, but hey, I mean, that's what happens. So look, this is what we're going to do, because I hate it, we're pressed for time. We're going to bring Kyle back next week to talk more XFL. And actually, this is what we're going to do each week. We're going to keep this going because, you know, Salid is growing, as you mentioned, and then we'll get to that question with Vince as well next week as far as the players getting an NFL contract, which I believe they will also. But I'm going to ask you specifically, which players do you see? So I'm going to give you a little homework next week, Kyle. Hey, man, I definitely appreciate you. It's the energetic student of the game, Mr. Kyle Nash. We appreciate you, man, and we'll see you next week.
Hey, glad to glad to be on, glad to be in. And hey, I'm glad you're drawing some attention to this football, because listen, all you people turning your nose at spring football and then turn around and watch Army and Navy battle each other running the option, get over yourself. This is good football. You'll enjoy it. Raph, thank you again. Shout out to Room doing his thing. But until next time, everyone, class dismissed.
Oh my God. All right, Kyle, we appreciate you, man. So it's almost that time, ladies and gentlemen, that we have to go. But definitely appreciate you all, man. And real quick, give you a minute. What's on my mind, man? What's on my mind is the fact that the Bears are going to be good. I'm just excited, y'all. Like, y'all don't understand. I know y'all couldn't hear me last time. I was kind of, so let me say it again. The fact that the Bears that we're solidifying different positions that we need, but not just getting, people in place, but we're getting the right people. Mike can attest to Nate Davis, man. Glad we're getting him as a guard. Even DeMarcus Walker, DN, who stepped up, had 7 sacks. Didn't really play a lot, but had 7 sacks. So he's coming over. It was nice. We needed some DN. That was a nice little pickup. I think he's getting $2 to $3 million. We have PJ Walker. I mean, Carolina Panthers has been good to us. They gave us 4 picks, 3 players, with him, with the biggest pickup so far was Dante Foreman. Dante Foreman. I love that pick, of course. And linebacker from Philly, Edwards. We got Edmonds from Buffalo. I just love what we're doing. I just love what we're doing. Am I jinking the Bears? No, I'm not jinking the Bears. I'm not saying they're gonna win the division. I don't know. And you know what, Vince? That's not even for. I don't even care about winning the division next year. If we do great, you know what I want? Cohesiveness. I just want the team to get together. I want them to get better, playing with each other. I want Fields to progress. I want the defense to progress. I want the coaches to progress. That's it. Once we get better, once we understand, once we can say mid-season, okay, this is a team, this is a formidable team. They can play with the best. They can compete, and teams aren't looking at them like it's the Bears, and we're not blowing games anymore. That's what I'm looking for. If we win a division, great. I just know next year, not this year coming up, but next year, that's when you can see it. And then let me just say this, and I'm gonna close out with this. Carolina Panthers getting on my nerves. Stop it. Yo, look. Stop trying to win, man. Stop trying to get these good players. We need that top 5 pick. What are y'all doing? This is supposed to be a throwaway year, okay? It's supposed to be for Bryce Young or Stroud, whoever y'all get, just to get better, for you all to, for him to get his feet wet and everything. But y'all trying to get Miles Sanders. Y'all getting this person. Y'all getting that. Yo, chill. We need that top 5 pick. Because once we get the top 5 pick, we need to get Marvin Harrison Jr. That's all I gotta say. That's all I want. All right. But we gotta end the show. Vince said, would you draft Justin Fields over Baker Mayfield? But all right, so we gotta let you all go. But look, I appreciate everyone who survived the almost meltdown of StreamYard. Yeah, I'm calling them out. That wasn't me, because I don't know what was going on. But appreciate you all. Mike Patton, Vince Fantasy Guru. Who else we got up in here, man? We got a lot of people that came in. People that listening live, Dwayne Chambers, Cliff, all of them, man, for listening. Hey, appreciate y'all. I want to shout out to my guest, Dr. Fowler. Of course, my guy, Rue. My guy, Kyle. Deshaun Tate. Appreciate you, man. Hey, man. Until next week. Oh, let me shout out to my family, my beautiful children, my brothers, sisters, cousins, uncles, aunties, nieces, nephews, my grandma, grandparents, play cousins. Hey, let family know that you love them while they can still feel it, love them while they're still alive. Eat good, drink responsibly, enjoy sports. You got March Madness. You got NFL free agency still going on. You got the XFL. You got the NBA, spring training, hockey still going on. Enjoy sports, man. Enjoy this weather as well, too, man. It's beautiful weather. I hope it's beautiful where you are. It is over here. Until then, next week, same time, same show, same crazy whole same sports nonsense. Will you miss me? I'm out. Peace.